in the UK, anyone can legally call themselves an accountant. No qualification required, no regulation, no accountability. My next guest has made it his mission to change that conversation and protect business owners like you from some of the most dangerous advice they'll never see coming. Chris Irving is passionate about financial education, business resilience, and making sure that the people behind the numbers actually know what they're doing. In a world where bad accounting advice can push a business towards someone like me in insolvency without the owner even realising it, Chris is one of the good guys. Please welcome to the show, Chris Irving.
So first of all, Chris, welcome to the Director First podcast, the London edition. I really appreciate you getting on the rattler, coming up and having a natter with us.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a day out the office. I'm all excited. This is good.
Well, we're going to have a chat. I have got a few questions. The idea is to go down, we'll probably end up talking about something completely irrelevant, but in and amongst it, I'm hoping that there'll be some really good nuggets of wisdom. Yeah, mate. I mean, first of all, I want you to sort of take us back to when you were running the accountancy practice and you were working 80-hour weeks, every hour God sends. Give us what a typical week would look like.
It would be an absolute slog. So I'd be dealing with clients, I'd be dealing with admin, I'd be dealing with I was doing everything. And of course, when you first set up a business, that's your perception. Well, I've got to do everything, haven't I? Because nobody else can do it as good or as accurate as I can.
Does it better.
No one does it better than me. So therefore, I've got to do it then. I've got to do it. So I was doing everything, absolutely everything. And it's just so inefficient. But to cut the long story short, yes, it was an 80-hour week. I was just literally getting up in the morning, going straight to work, setting up the laptop at home, missing weekends, just going missing for weekends. And just getting my head down because it had to be done. Mm-hmm. And it was only me that could do it because nobody else could do it like me. And there was, it was getting to the point where I started seeing cracks appearing. And I thought, actually, I don't want to be this person anymore because it's going to kill me. It's as simple as that.
Were there times where you thought, you know what, I mean, we were talking off camera then, but, I'm going to spew this, I'm going to go and work at McDonald's or?
Plenty of times where I thought, I don't know how long I can keep this going up for. Plenty of times where I thought, right, that's it. I'm going to get a job. No stress. I'm just going to get a job. This working for yourself lark and setting up your own business. It's not all it's cracked out to be, is it? Mm. And that's the dream that people, and I see it a lot with what I do. I see the dream of people coming along and I'm going to be setting up a business, and I suppose just completely unprepared for the mental shift from employment to actually running your own business. And it's if you're not careful, you can fall into that trap very easily, where you're just working every day because it's on your mind all the time. It's on your mind, 24 hours a day. I need to do this. If I did this, it'd make this better. Let's do it now. And it's so important. Even now, I'm sort of moving on a bit, but even now I say to staff, having time away from the office and out of the office is just as important for me as having time for them, for having time away from the office, having time in the office.
So in my office, we have a lady called Nadina, and she'll like that she's getting a mention here. But honestly, mega. I recruited her by going to an inquiry, basically, of a company that was, about to go for a process. And anyway, she comes to, she's like, been the best signing we've ever had. But I said that to her at half term, like that. I love about people, like they are here, like, listen, I've got to, work is really important to her, right? But I had to have that conversation, like, mate, you need to have a little bit of downtime as well. But where you've got other people that at 5 o'clock, they push that chair under the desk. And I don't know how much time you thought you get off in between 9 to 5, but at 1 minute past 5, you were a distant memory. So, because it's not as black and white, is it? You know what I mean? I hear what you're saying is like, you've got to have some downtime. And you can't do everything yourself forever. But there is a time that you have got to get in the trenches, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Like, and you've got to be there for, you know, doing the HR, doing the marketing, doing the sales, doing.
Yeah.
Have you ever read the E-Myth?
I was going to say to you, actually, E-Myth
Yeah.
Revisited.
Yeah.
Perfect book. I recommend it to clients, especially the clients that are starting up, because that was me.
What was she called? Susan. Was
Oh,
it
Susan, I think it was.
Susan or Sarah who had the cake business.
Yeah, had the cake business.
Go on, tell everybody what the E-Myth is, by the way, before I bastardize it.
So it was a while ago. The E-Myth Revisited is about somebody who's very good at being a baker. So the next step, of course, is to set up a business being a baker. That's the natural progression. No, it's not the natural progression, because she's very good at what she does. She's very good at being a baker. That doesn't mean that she can run a bakery.
Yeah.
And it was just highlighting all the other additional things that she thought running a bakery was about baking. It's not about baking. It's about running a business and all the other nonsense that goes with it. And it was just that realization that being good at what you do doesn't necessarily mean you should run a business doing that. And again, I see that a lot with clients where they're looking to set up a business. And one of the first things I'll say to them is just have a little download on your Audible and have a little listen to the E-Myth Revisited, Michael Gerber. It's a good read. I remember when I was reading it, I don't know about yourself, but when I was reading it, that's me. I do that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I do that. I can see everything that was happening with the business process. We do it. And it's just that realization that you can't do everything.
And I think one of the biggest skills, and this isn't something I've mastered yet, but I know what to do in most areas of what we do, and it's actually getting it out of here onto some type of, operating document to pass it on. And obviously I interviewed Rachel Murphy yesterday, her job is she goes into businesses, gets them ready to raise, bring in private equity or exit. And that's the key thing, where a business owner is the bottleneck in the business. I know I'm the bottleneck in my business, because I've got my nose in things that doesn't really need me there, checking this, checking that, instead of sort of letting people get on.
Yeah, you're right.
When you go back to like on the verge of burnout, I mean, we spoke before that, like me, I've missed parts of my kid's life just because I might have been there, but I'm not there, What was there a moment in that time where you went, I cannot do, like something internally snapped and you sort of made a shift?
It was right at the very, very beginning of COVID, actually. Right at the very beginning of COVID, because
when the world were going to end.
My goodness, what a period that I still look back on that and just shake my head and
Mental,
think,
isn't it?
how on earth did that even happen? But I was getting up at 5 a.m, going downstairs because working from home, lockdown, switching the laptop on, and then not getting out until midnight that night. And it was just constant. I remember when Boris was on the telly announcing it, Rishi Sunak was on announcing the furlough scheme.
Yeah.
And as he's talking, I've got a client ringing me up. Yeah, what's the problem? I want to know how to claim the furlough.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm watching it the same as you. This is new to us as well. I've got no idea. And everybody was just panicking. And the pressure that put on us to give advice on that when we didn't know, nobody knew. To be fair, I don't think the government knew just how it was going to operate, what was actually going to come out of that. So that put a lot of pressure. And I remember sitting at home. It's probably the first week of lockdown, and having done 20-hour days. It was that kind of, I haven't done 20-hour days for a week. No, do you know what? That's me. I'm done. And I remember there was a moment where that moment where you think, right, that's me. I'm done. It was on quite a high scale. I made it quite vocal that, right, that's me. I'm done. I'm just gonna go and get it. I'm done. And it was a bit of a wake up call, really, to no, you need to do something about this. Let's draw on the resource that we've learned over the few years, and let's do this properly. Let's do this. It's not all on me. It doesn't all fall on me. It doesn't have to be the business owner. Get good people around you.
And leave them alone to do it.
And leave them alone to do it. Because what I've found since is they're actually better at it than I am.
Yeah.
It's great.
What do you like doing? Like in your business, what's the bit that you like doing?
I love talking to clients. I love talking to new clients. I love talking to people. Our big thing at Curve is we explain things in understandable language. We've banned jargon. We don't do jargon. I don't care what section.
No big sky thinking in your office.
There's no big sky. It's just say it how it is.
Yeah.
I don't care what section of the Companies Act or the Income Taxes Act it relates. I don't care. What does it mean?
Yeah.
What does it mean? And we've actually got a few clients that actually call us translators because we translate information into language that they can just understand. And it is as simple as that. Just talking to clients and making things understandable as well.
You know, going back to COVID for a second, there was something else I wanted to ask you. So you've had that I don't want to say breakdown, that's a strong word.
It wasn't far away, let me tell you,
It was
Chris.
a big life event, weren't it?
Yeah.
You know? And you've gone, right, I could go and get a job, which is just another set of problems, isn't it? You just don't know what they are at that point. What happened then? You know, what for you to go, I'm going to apply the stuff that I've learned, I'm going to get people into, what was that transition?
It was just physically taking a step back and looking at the business. And looking at the business, it's very difficult to look at your own business. It's easy to look at clients' businesses from the outside.
I really get that.
And look in and say, this is where it's going. This is what you would need to do. It's very difficult to look at your own business and do that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't far off a breakdown, put it that way. But I took a couple of days just to step back and have a look and think, what is it I need to do here? I've already got good people around me. I've already got that. Let's enable it. Let's enable it. Let's cut back to the very basics, what we know we're good at. One of the big things is we know what we don't know. Let's concentrate on what we're good at, what we're really good at, and let's just effectively start again. So that's when we had the rebrand to Curve Accountancy, and it was effectively a new start, a fresh start, enabling other people.
Did you get rid of some clients?
We did get rid of some clients. Yes. Yeah, we did. That was a difficult thing because that goes against every single grain that's shouting out in your head. And again, I say this to clients, do I do it myself? Well, I didn't. Not every client is going to tick every box for you. And it is a case of they need to be the right clients to work with. They absolutely do. Otherwise, it's going to be draining. So, yeah.
Now, financially, doing what you did must have been quite scary because I don't know about your world, but when COVID happened, like, we're paid to advise on this stuff, right? But you only really get fees when things are happening. And the best advice for probably 6 to 9 months were like, don't do anything. Yeah. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know how this is going to pan out. But that I remember looking in the bank, and I probably had at the time about, I don't know, a month or two's worth of running costs. And I was thinking, fucking hell, I don't know what I'm going to do here. But then we got a bit busier. What you did is sort of started again almost. Yeah. I mean, financially, that must have been a bit scary for you.
It was very scary because you're absolutely right. Through COVID, there wasn't a lot we could charge clients for because it was just a case of, well, let's find out and see. Let's see what it is. We don't know what we're doing. We're finding out as well. So it was a scary time, but yeah, these things are sent to test you, to try you, as we were talking about. Them things make you stronger, make you realise, make you appreciate the good times as well.
Did your missus buy into this as well? Like this sort of, because on one hand, I'm going to keel over with the stress. On the other hand, we might be going to earning that type of level again. They're like the things no one talks about, are they? No. Financial pressure at home, mate, can be. No,
you're right. I'm quite fortunate. Helen works in the business as well. So Helen does our invoicing and our chasing. She's our...
Have you always worked together?
Yeah, we have actually.
Wow, that's a strong man. What's the secret to that?
Don't. That's the secret. If you're going to do it, don't. No, it works. It works okay. We've got an understanding that what's at work is at work. What's at home is at home. So yeah, if we're not talking to each other at home, at work, it's just completely. We literally get in the door and we're at work. And
That's impressive.
It's completely different. And then when we get home, we just carry on not talking to each other.
What were all her thoughts when you were going through this then? Like, you know,
She was worried about me. You know, she was basically, forget the business. It's not about the business. It's not about the money. It's just about health, about looking after myself and actually being in the right space. And it's not the be all and end. It isn't the be all and end all. Of course it is.
No.
We all think it is, but it's not the be all and end all. So it's
we were talking about it before. You know, like it's got to come from within that, hasn't it? You know, that contentment, that and that. You know, I'll be the first to admit I can struggle with that, but. Because the next new toy or the next new holiday works for how long, you know, and
yeah,
be happy where you are.
You've got to be happy where you are. And it is just looking after your health as well. You know, the older we get, Chris, the more we come across people that don't have health.
Yeah, man.
And it's worrying. It's really worrying. So all the time you got your health, do you know what? You're winning.
Yeah.
You're winning at life, really.
You invested in a business coach, and I spend lots of time with accountants and finance people, because they're my main guests. I don't want to offend anyone, but I'll say it as I see it, right? Yeah, no, they're very factual. The very listen. It's always about process, numbers. I don't know many of them that go in for that side of things. I had a chap on this morning and he was talking about, we discussed success is 80% mindset and 20% mechanics. If I say that to a normal accountant, they would brush it off as woo-woo. So what made you do that and what have been the results?
So what made me do that? So I've been working as an accountant for myself since 1997, and I've always reading books, education, experiences. I've always come across things that I should be doing. I need to document the business because do you know what? For the business to succeed after me, I've got to make myself the most disposable person in the business, and that's a complete opposite shift to the natural thinking of
Star Striker.
Yeah, you want to be the superhero, of course. No, actually, you really don't.
Yeah.
You want to be the one that just sits in the background. It's not reliant upon you. So I knew what I needed to do, but I suppose it was always a case of, but I'm the business owner. I'm not accountable to anyone. If I don't do it, if I don't write that process,
no one's saying out.
Nobody's going to say, hang on a minute, Chris, you said to me you were going to do that and you haven't.
We're the easiest people to bullshit, aren't we?
Oh, full of it. And yeah.
I can identify. I can identify.
I think we're from the same pod there. Yeah. But yeah, so it was purely accountability. That was the first thing, was the accountability. Also, just to acknowledge that nobody knows everything. Everybody is learning every single day. So do you know what? If I can pick up tips to run my business and to pass on to clients, that's got to be a good thing, isn't it? So the main thing for me was the accountability. I knew what I needed to do, but I've got an excuse book.
Yeah,
as big as that. Is the excuses for not doing it. No, actually, I need to get my act together. I need to get. I knew the business coach that I've got, Tim Rylett. I've known him for a number of years, and I've actually only started working with him the last 3 years. And it's been a big change. It's hugely positive. Just somebody to bounce ideas off, because it can be a lonely thing running a business.
I went for dinner with a mate of mine last night in London. He's a lawyer, and it was just good to talk to someone else about, you know, ideas, fears, and because there's only few people. A lot of my mates, you know, they say like you are the 4 people that you spend the most time with. I think that's bollocks. I mean, I'm still mates with my mates who I were 5 with, you know what I mean? And we're all different. So I don't go to them with certain things because it's like, you know, we just, you've got to find people, I think, that are sort of walking the same journey, you know, like business. Because I don't know about you, mate. My business whole career has been riddled with fear. It's like, fucking hell, they're going to all find out about me. You know, they're going to find out about me. No one's ever going to work with me again. You know what I mean? And like, just that ability to be open with someone and say, I feel a bit vulnerable at the moment. You know what I mean? I've got this going on. I've got that going on. This dickhead's having a pop at me on LinkedIn and fucking hell, what do I do? What do you know?
Yeah.
So I get it, that accountability, that being able to talk honestly with someone.
Absolutely. And I just had a conversation with him yesterday, and he was just challenging me on things. He was challenging me on decisions that I'd made, decisions that were right, but just that extra challenge. Why did you do that, though? And having to explain it makes you understand it better. So just, I suppose, the challenge, the accountability, somebody else to share your issues with as well, and just get a bit of a impartial advice on what to do. So it's been a big change.
What you like at applying what he suggests?
So if I don't do what I say I'm going to do, he does hit me with penalties.
Oh, I like that.
So,
go on. Anything interesting?
So if I say I'm going to do, we have a commitment sheet that every 2 weeks we'll have a meet up and right, what's going to be the focus for the next 2 weeks that's important? Anything that's happened that we need to deal with now? Yeah, we're going to do this. Can you get it done within? And it's me that makes the commitment. It's not him that forces it. He doesn't tell me to do anything that I'm not willing to do or capable of doing. So he'll say, okay, are you happy to commit to doing that in the next 2 weeks? Yeah, okay, cool. If I don't do it, he'll say, I'll give you one chance to get that done. Otherwise, you've got to make a donation to charity.
I like that.
And it's a financial donation, which is great. You know, it's fine. But it's a charity of his choice. It's not a charity of my choice.
Okay.
Which is good. So it does focus you when there's a financial impact on it. Or one of the forfeits I had to do, I had to take him and his wife out for dinner and pay for it. And it wasn't at McDonald's either. No.
I quite like that idea.
So it's just...
And you've stuck with it as well, haven't you? You know, like, because I see people that go in for this type of thing and they don't commit. I interviewed the guy I've worked with for years today, and he's I never get to answer, like, it's not that type of relationship. He asks me questions and I answer. Anyway, I had him an hour today and I'm grilling him. And it's only when I did that, I think, fucking hell, he's really changed my life, him. You know, like the stuff that I think they're my ideas, how I run my calendar and do this. And it isn't, it's all come from that, you know?
Yeah. Tim, my business coach, he was responsible for getting me down from 80 hours a week because we actually broke down my roles. One of the first things we did was a thing called a default diary. You probably do it yourself without realising.
He's mentioned it. He did that.
Default diary.
That is what... we were talking about it earlier. But go on, what's your interpretation of it?
The default diary, you have your set role. In fact, you have your set roles. As the owner of the business, you have your set role. You might have your sales director hat on. You might have your HR hat on. You might have your finance director hat on. Your operations director. The different roles that you have to do throughout the year, throughout the week. There's only so many hours in a week, and it's the same for everyone. You've not got more hours in a week than I have. We've all got exactly the same. So it's just a case of allocating. If we allocate, let's say, 4 new client meetings a week, you can have 4 o'clock on a Monday, 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, 11 o'clock, and so on. It's not, and once that's done, that's done. They're your 4 for the week. It just means that you're doing all of your roles in that week and you're allocating time to do it. Rather than saying, it's all right, I can do that in the evening. I can do that role in the evening. No, you can't. You shouldn't be.
On the back of my chat with Will, I nipped out at dinner and I got my Google Calendar up and I played around with it because I said, I don't want to call after 4 o'clock. And it's because I'm useless after 4 o'clock. Like literally, by the time 4 o'clock comes, Chris, I've checked out. Like my head's whatever it is decision. So if you get me at 4 o'clock, I'm not going to be much use to you. But and I don't want to call at 9 o'clock in the morning either. I want my calls to start from 9:30, and I can work pretty solidly between those times. But I've found myself going, oh, go on then, yeah, stick it in there. And I'm doing the call. Another rule that I keep breaking is taking client calls on the way home.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the car talking to a client. I pull into my driveway, finish the call, step over the threshold, and I've got 3 kids running at me. And I wonder why I'm a bit discombobulated and I don't know whether I'm coming or going, you know?
Yeah.
Do you how do you sort of find that transition from businessman to dad?
It's so important. That journey home is so important. And that's the reason I can't work from home. Even during COVID, I went into the office, an empty office, I might add, just for the legalities of it. Went into the office on my own because otherwise my job was, well, I wake up at 5, let's say, well, let's go and do some work. And there was no transition between Chris, the business owner, and Chris, the dad, and Chris, the husband as well.
Yeah.
So I actually I live probably a mile away from where I work. But every day, that journey home, that is the physical and mental transition from Chris, the business owner, to Chris, the dad, Chris, the husband. It's so important. It really is. Yeah.
I wanted to get sort of back onto business a little bit. You talked about it. I've seen you talk about it a lot. Sort of like the difference between compliance accounting and actually, we'll call a spade, an accountant that really helps a business owner.
Yeah.
You know, one compliance accounting is keeping someone out of prison.
Yep.
Okay. Just give us the lowdown from your point of view, just so people, because there'll be people watching this. I have an audience that don't quite understand what you can and what you can't get from an accountant, or what you can if you pay the price.
Yeah. So the compliance accountant is probably 90% of your typical accountants, where what they will do is they'll keep you out of prison. They'll complete your year-end accounts. They'll complete your tax return. They'll file your confirmation statement. They'll do that. And what used to be the case, and it used to be the case with us as well, is, look, Chris, there's your year-end accounts. There's your tax return. This is the tax that's due. See you same time next year.
Yeah.
And that was it. We've kept you out of prison. We've kept you legal. Everything's there. We've told you what tax is due. See you at the same time next year. And it was the start of COVID. It was the start of COVID. And actually, business coach friend of mine just happened to say to me, "Are you proactive as accountants?" Oh, God, very proactive. Very, very proactive. Yeah. We're not just compliance accountants. And he went, "That's complete rubbish." He's a client, by the way. "That's complete rubbish." Oh, really? He said, "No, you're not proactive. You need to be, but you're not." So what again, it was something that as a result of COVID now, talking about a set of accounts that are 9 months old is no use to man nor beast. No. Yes, it tells you what your tax is going to be, but actually it's no use to anyone because you can't do anything about them. Actually, what's more important is talking about your accounts today. So forget your last year-end accounts. Where are you today? Where are you today? What's your next corporation tax bill going to look like? What needs to be done now that actually can involve a little bit of tax planning for this current year? More importantly, what does the next 12 months after that look like? Let's put together a forecast, because everyone shies away from doing a financial forecast, a budget, a plan, because everyone thinks it's got to be 50 pages thick and it's rubbish.
Just a spreadsheet, isn't it?
Just a spreadsheet. Yeah. Some of the best financial forecasts I've seen have just been an A4 sheet of paper that's been written down. Because it's written down, it's accountable. You've thought about it, you've considered it. So what we've done since the beginning of COVID, since 2020, is we actually now sit down with clients and say, we're going to keep you out of prison. That's a given. That's a standard. But actually what we're going to do is we want to look at where you are now. And we're doing lots of these meetings, and it's such a shame, because trying to explain the benefit to a client,
They're just seeing it as a cost, aren't
it's
they?
a cost.
Yeah.
What do you mean I've got to pay for it? Is this not part of my accounts? Come in, have a look what we do. I guarantee you'll get value out of it. I guarantee it. And some of the things we've done with clients in the last 5 years, I spoke to a client yesterday about gross profit percentage. Your gross profit percent has dipped. Let's find out why. And actually, as it turned out, they were being overcharged by a supplier. That if we'd have done their year-end accounts, we may have picked up and said, oh, your gross profit was down.
But you're 18 months.
You're 18 months, you're gone. You've missed the boat on that.
Can I ask you a question? Because there are people out there that will, and it's a price question, because people will be out there, oh, it sounds really good, that, but I know I can't afford it. Is it, and I know this is how long is a piece of string, but if you was a small business owner doing a few £100,000 a year, maybe £500,000 a year, to get that additional service from you, what would be an entry point of a monthly cost?
So we bounced this around, the ideas for this about, okay, let's think about a monthly retainer. No, because that causes problems. Hang on a minute, got to the end of the year, I haven't had any advice from you, and I've been paying this retainer. And with services that I have, if I haven't used the service, I feel a bit aggrieved about it. So the way that we do it is it's on an hourly basis. As and when you need it, book in an hour of our time, and we deliberately don't make it more than an hour. It's capped at an hour, because what you're going to get in that hour is going to fry your brain.
Yeah.
And it's going to be information overload, and any more than an hour, you're going to lose the impact of it. So we keep it to an hour. If you want multiple ones, we've got clients that come in every 2 weeks for our accountancy support.
I like that. I've never heard that before.
But we just do it on a as you need it. Any hours you have, we'll bill it at the end of the month, because that's the other gripe that I hear from clients, is that come the end of the year, they get a bill from their accountant. Where's that come from?
Yeah,
it's 10 grand. That's all the advice you've had in the year.
Yeah.
What? Where's that all come from? How's that?
How regularly do you want them talking to you though? Monthly, quarterly? Where's the? I know it's different from.
It does depend. I've got clients that we go out to monthly, and we will sit with them. Again, I was with a client yesterday. We did a drill down on their gross profit percent. We've got clients that we sit down with 6 months. We've got clients that we sit down with annually. And when I say annually, it's the halfway point in the year, or maybe a couple of months before their year end, that we'll sit down with them. We'll show them where they are year to date. We'll do some comparisons with previous years. We'll do some analysis. And it really does all depend on the client, whether we do a drill down into the gross profit. Is there anything you need to be thinking about? Let's start putting together a very basic forecast. So it really does all depend, but we do it on an ad hoc, as and when they need it.
I like the idea of the workshop, which is quite unique. I've never heard many firms do that at all. Just explain to us what you can do for a business owner.
So when the business owner comes in, we'll get their records up on the screen in the meeting. I like to do it in the office, at the Curve office, because I've got a whiteboard, and I love a whiteboard.
Absolutely love one. Yeah. And some good markers.
I've got some really bad markers at the moment. There's one in amongst all the pens that's the good pen. Anyway, the whiteboard is a godsend because it makes it visual.
Yeah.
And it's all very well. Again, it's all very well talking to a client, explaining it. Make it visual. Get it written down so that they can take a picture of the whiteboard at the end of it, and you can see it visually. And you've then got something to refer back to afterwards as well. So just talking about it is great, but it doesn't have a big impact. So getting the whiteboard out, let's get your Xero, your QuickBooks, your Sage, whatever you're using, your spreadsheets even, let's get them up on the screen in the meeting room. Let's do a drill down into it. And guaranteed there'll be something that comes out of it. Even if it's a case, we will ask questions that you've never thought about. We will ask questions, and it does annoy me, this answer. Well, it's always been that way. No, I don't care. Why are you spending that much on that particular service? That seems particularly high. We've always had that supplier.
Do you get a bit of pushback? Because no one likes someone sticking their hand in, do they?
No.
I hate it, me. If someone, honestly, I know I need it, but it's like, get away, you know.
Your
I'm
pride.
not used to it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not aggressive with it, Chris. We don't.
That's something. There's got to be a way to deliver this, you know, hasn't there?
Have you thought about having a look
Yeah.
at that particular service that you're getting there? Have you thought about having a look at your supplier? Your gross margins come down. Have you thought about looking for alternative suppliers? Yeah, do you know what? We haven't looked for suppliers for 5 years. It's about time we did that, John, isn't it? And the feedback we get from them, without fail, there is always something that the client comes away from, at least something that the client comes away from and says, do you know what? That's going to save me an amount of money.
I think when even like just my story, when I understood the importance of a timely P&L, and somebody explaining it to me and understanding that balance sheet and tracking that balance sheet, it was like the lights come on.
Yeah.
Took away the fear.
Yeah.
Took away the guessing, the sleepless nights. It's like, I actually know where I am now, you know?
It's amazing. So not that long ago, 6 months ago, I had a new client meeting, and what we do with every client for the first year is we'll sit down with them at year end and we will talk them through line by line their year end accounts. And I sat down with a new client. They'd been in business for 30 years and it was their first year with us, sat down with the client, and I just went through the profit and loss, their year end accounts, the full pack, the profit and loss and the balance sheet and the notes and the detailed profit and loss. And I went through those documents line by line with them. And the business owner, he sat there and he said, at the end of it, he said, Chris, that was amazing. He said, I've been in business 30 years. And do you know what? I didn't know what a profit and loss account was because I was too embarrassed to ask.
That's it, isn't it?
I was too embarrassed to ask, but you've explained everything line by line. He said, I now get what a balance sheet does. It's like the light coming on. But as a business owner, you're too embarrassed to ask that. You're expected to know. You're a business owner. What do you mean you don't know what profit and loss is?
There's some fear with an accountant, you know, of actually asking them a question. Because some will bite you, right? You know, I've seen accountants not very helpful to directors. Almost like, you know, if you ever, just really short with people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hence the reason we don't wear suits in the office. I learned a long time ago that suits are very authoritative.
Yeah.
And you can physically see, it's not to say that we're dressing scruffily, but you can physically see new clients coming to the office, having a look at the office, having a look at the dress code and going, oh, thank God for that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be told off by somebody in a suit. And that's not to say accountants shouldn't wear suits, but we don't want that authoritative. We don't want to come across as authoritative. Tell us. We're quite happy. We're people. We're people. It's all about the communication as well. And not judging. We don't judge. Clients will come in and say, oh, I bet my books are the worst books you've ever seen. Oh, no. Yeah. It really isn't. It really isn't.
What are the sort of key metrics every business owner should be tracking? Because like you say, you go through that P&L, there's freaking all sorts in there. Yeah. If we could just pick out your top metrics.
So it's interesting actually, because again, this is quite apt because I did this with the client yesterday. First metric is your cash flow. You need to know your cash flow. You need to know where your cash is coming in, where it's going out. I've seen plenty of businesses, you must see it yourself, Chris, I've seen plenty of businesses go bust, not because of lack of profit, it's because of lack of cash. Do your cash flow forecast. Again, it doesn't need to be complicated. People think it needs to have all kinds of complicated. Just keep it dead simple. Keep it dead simple. What's my cash looking like for the next 8 weeks? Start with your 8 weeks. The second important number is going to be your net profit. Know what your net profit is going to be. And then I'd say the number after that is your gross profit. If you're in a trade, a business that's got your cost of sales and that's quite sensitive, you need to understand what your gross profit is. They're the three numbers that I would say: cash flow, net profit, gross profit. That's what you want to be looking out for.
And the only way to really get a grip of them every month, Do you know one of my pet hates is like, Zero, QuickBooks, they somehow say like, just do it yourself. Yeah. It's
dead simple,
don't
isn't
really
it?
need an accountant
No.
anymore with this stuff,
No.
That is like commercial suicide, So it all feeds back in having somebody like you, doesn't it? Just next to them, holding the hands. If I do something myself, I doubt it. Like if I run a report, even if like I stop doing, I have a marketing scoreboard, so I will, everything that comes into our business, every inquiry, where's it come from? What have we spent on this campaign? What's that generated? When I used to do it myself, I would doubt it, right? When someone else does it to me, and it's all almost automated now, I don't have to think about it as much because I trust them.
Yeah.
I trust them more than I trust me. And it's like, but it's getting into that rhythm, isn't it, of reporting? What do they say? You can't measure what you don't monitor.
Yeah. It's right. And having up-to-date records as well. So part of the condition with us having the accountancy workshops with clients during the year is obviously their records have got to be up to date. And again, I was working with the client yesterday and we're currently reviewing their month end 6 weeks after their month end. So we've actually come up with a process yesterday that will enable us to do that within 7 days of the month end. Because it's that sensitive, it's that important. And it isn't a big shift. It's just a case of making sure certain things are done by the 7th of the month so that when we run those reports, it's 95% there. Maybe the I's aren't dotted and the T's aren't crossed, but it's 95% there. And do you know what? We can work with that. We can.
It doesn't have to be perfect, does it?
It doesn't have to be spot on. It doesn't have to be perfect. For the purpose of what we're doing, it doesn't have to be absolutely spot on. But it needs to be 95% there. It can't be. And having records up to date is huge. It's absolutely huge. Yeah.
So what does a good finance team look like? It can all be the same person, but what are the roles? You've obviously got.
You've got your bookkeeper. You've got to have your bookkeeper. You've got to have your data entry person that knows what they're doing, whether it's QuickBooks, Xero, even spreadsheets.
What's your favourite, by the way? QuickBooks, Xero, Free Agent?
I prefer QuickBooks. I do prefer QuickBooks, but to be honest, they all do the same. It's just the different terminologies. Back in the day, I was a big Sage fan.
Yeah. I'm not bright enough for Sage. I've tried that before. I'm like...
It used to be very, very complicated. I mean, it still is, mind you, but it used to be very complicated. QuickBooks is our preferred. We've probably got 60% of our clients on QuickBooks.
We're available for sponsorship, aren't we?
We are available
for
sponsorship.
Or Xero, whoever wants to pay more.
Whoever.
I could be converted to Sage for the right price, by the way.
For a relatively low price as well, yeah. So that's your data entry has to be on point. It really does have to be on point.
It's the foundation.
It's the foundation of it. Once that's in place, again, what we do with clients is we'll sit down with them and show them what reports to run. Show them what to look for.
So go on, basic reports every month is...
Basic reports, you've got your profit and loss, you've got your balance sheet.
Yeah.
I tend not to use the cash flow or the cash forecasting functions within the software.
No.
I tend to do it outside of the software.
Just on an Excel, money
on an
coming in,
Excel,
money coming out.
absolutely, because it's just too rigid. It's too rigid, and the assumptions aren't as flexible as maybe they should be. But just running your profit and loss every month, running your balance sheet every month to see where you are, preparing a basic cash flow. They should be the three things that you should be looking at. I'd also say sit down with somebody else to look through them. Don't just look through them yourself, because sometimes you won't see the wood for the trees.
Yeah.
I do it myself. Every piece of work in Curve that goes out has to have somebody check it. Any work I do, somebody will check it.
We do the same on anything that's got a layer of complexity against. You'll know we will bring a second person on the phone, and it'll be like, listen, I'm just bringing my colleague in. They're just going to give this the once over, because mistakes in my game are pretty severe,
Yeah,
something wrong, you miss, and we miss things. Humans miss things.
You can't see the wood for the trees sometimes, can you? It really is. It's staring you in plain sight. But
big problems I'm seeing with directors at the moment. This is going out in 2026, March, April. I've seen HMRC really tighten the screw. A lot of directors are scared to pick up the phone with HMRC. What's your experience with it?
I agree with you. HMRC, something has changed very recently within the last 6 months, where actually we're seeing in cases HMRC being particularly aggressive with liabilities, to the point where they're turning up at people's houses for ridiculously simple debts, and it does just make you scratch your head and think, how on earth has it got to that point? Even some of the HMRC guys that we've spoken to, I really don't know why I'm here collecting this amount, but I am. So something has changed where it is getting a little bit more exciting. What I encourage directors to do, and we've done it several times, speak to HMRC about it. The minute you speak to them about it, you can physically see the relief coming off the client's shoulders as well. And we've done a few calls with HMRC from our office. So the client will make the call from the office, and I'll just be sitting with the client, just to give that reassurance that actually this is what we're looking for. What they're saying isn't incorrect, and the relief.
Because this is the bit that people won't realise, Chris, is if you ring them with a sensible proposal, okay, and I'm not talking ignore them for 9 months, get threatened with a winding up petition, then go and see the accountant. But the minute that things are going a bit curly, go to them. What's happened? Why I can't pay? What I want it over with somebody like yourself. 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, they really do. And that has been 9 times out of 10. HMRC are great. We can work with that, because I think it has changed a lot from the 35 years I've been doing it. It has changed. HMRC used to just hit everybody with a hammer, or it appeared used to just hit everybody with a hammer at the earliest opportunity. Now I think they've realised that actually, if we work with people, we're going to get a lot more success. We're going to get a lot more revenue if we work with people, as opposed to hitting them with a hammer. I think
for me, it's if you're compliant, they want to help you. It's the, and I don't. It's the people who are constantly late filing, constantly late paying, making arrange. People don't realise that time to pay arrangement, which is what we're talking about, is it's a real opportunity to get back on a firm financial footing. It's not constantly going to be offered to, is it?
No. And the minute you default on it, that's it. So again, what we say to clients, if you're going to do a time to pay agreement, do something. Don't do something that's going to stretch you.
Yeah.
Do something.
Push it as far out as you can.
Do something that you know you're going to be able to do. Don't take a punt on it. Do something, because the minute you default on it, that's it.
And it goes back into the only way you can make that projection and estimate is if you're hot on your numbers.
Yeah, it's if you know your numbers.
One of the things that has always frustrated me, and I get HMOs, they've got to do a job. But when you're an enforcement agent, and I know a lot of them because we're just the same faces, you know. They're all good people. They're just doing jobs.
Yeah.
But if you are a business owner and they're in your business, how many directors go, 6 months, yeah, just get out.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah.
No.
And then 2 months in, it fails. Bang, they're back to control of goods. Winding up petitions are happening like never before. So all of these chats feed into, they're not designed to be salesy, right? But I invite people like you on for a reason. And I said to it when I first approached you, I invite finance people that make this complex subject, because it is complex. Go through the Companies House, go through the Insolvency Act if you ever want to fall asleep at night. You've got to find people that speak a language that most people are going to understand, and that's what we've really liked about how you operate. Now, just circling back, I've not dug into this enough and I'm mindful of time. You went from 80 hours to 40 hours. I'm interested what you got rid of, right? I'm going to go, you know, I try and pick up some stuff for myself personally because I'm overwhelmed at the moment. What did you look at? What did you get rid of? What did you delegate? What did you get rid of altogether?
I delegated quite a bit because I also realised that reading the E-Myth Revisited, I also realised that as a business owner, you actually want to make yourself the most disposable person in the business. So I actually delegated. And when I looked around the team that we had, we've got a fantastic team.
How many is in it?
So there's myself and 9 others. So there's 10 of us in total.
It's a decent squad.
But they're very good. They really are. And it's a big change to start delegating because accept that, do you know what? They might not do it as well as you would have done, or they might not do it the same way as you'd have done. Doesn't mean it's any worse or any better. They might do it a different way. And some of the ideas that the team have come up with, look, I'm going to give you that problem. How are you going to solve that? How are you going to deal with that? And some of the solutions are, oh, that's just genius. That's absolute. I'd never have got there. That's absolute genius. So being confident delegating was a big step for me. Default diary was a big step because all of a sudden it meant that all the roles that I was covering in the business, I was allocating time to do them. And once I got to the end of that role, that time, whether it was the operations director, marketing director, whatever it was, because we've all got the different roles in the business, once that slot's finished, you move on to the next thing. It's not a case of I'm going to spend all day doing this mundane task. The delegation was the big thing. Delegating to staff, delegating to the team members. 9 times out of 10, they do it better than I do. They do it different, and it's a fresh approach. And having the confidence to do that as well, having the confidence to do that, having a good team around you is absolutely spot on. Enabling people.
And it allowed you to go on holiday for the first time in 5 years.
First time.
Where did you go?
Barbados.
Wow.
Yeah, we thought let's go all in.
Yeah.
Let's go all in. Yeah.
What was that like?
It was unreal.
Did you turn your phone off?
I did turn my phone off
for the full week.
There was a compromise. I didn't want to go for 2 weeks. It was 10 days.
Too long.
It was 10 days. 10 days was enough.
I find 10 days. I mean, I've got little kids, so on holidays just screaming at your kids in a different environment,
different swimming pool every day.
Yeah. but I do find for 2 weeks of I can do. If I'm really honest, 7 days is enough for me. But my missus is a bit more normal, you know. And I'll sort of turn my phone off for 7 days, and on the 8th day, I'm thinking, I just want to check that the roof's still on. You know what I mean? And do you ever worry about slipping back into 80-hour weeks?
All the time, and it's something that it's started to creep up at the moment, especially with January. January is an exciting time.
I like the word exciting.
Exciting,
because that's an interesting phrase because most accountants check into rehab in February, don't they? They're like,
I'm dressing that up, the exciting bit. January's exciting, but actually what we tend to find is after January, all the things that we said, we can't do that at the moment, but can you wait till after January and then we'll pick that up. So we are busy during January, and I've seen my hours gradually creep up, but every now and again, Helen says to me, no, I want you home at a reasonable time tonight. I want you home just to have some dinner together. And it's the simple things like that makes such a big difference, huge difference. So Helen keeps me in check, making sure that, no, you're not working this weekend. You've got a training session to do with your under 12 football team, so you're going to do that instead. Okay, yeah.
Good luck.
It's great.
If somebody wants to get in touch with Chris Irving or Curve Accountancy, we are going to have everything in the show notes, but where else can we find you?
You can find me online, LinkedIn. Love a bit of LinkedIn, as we both do. Love a bit of LinkedIn. LinkedIn website. See what we do. We're not your typical accountants. We don't describe ourselves as accountants. We enable business owners to understand their numbers. That's what we do. and part of that is we'll also do your accounts and your tax return. But that's the first thing. We just want you to understand your numbers. And that's not to make you an accountant. That's just to make you understand your numbers. Get a better understanding of your numbers. So yeah, online, give us a call. We're based in Crawley, sunny Crawley next to Gatwick.
Thank you.
So
Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
It's been fantastic. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you very much.